Welcome back, Irish fans, to Breaking Down Braves Boys podcast. I got Trevor back with me today. It's actually a podcast that's not a post-game show. We're going to try to do probably a weekly podcast throughout the season if we can. And this is a big week for Notre Dame. We're going to do a state of the program, but then we're going to get into two kind of make or break games for Notre Dame. Illinois, Big Ten ACC Challenge game that Notre Dame kind of has to win to get something on the resume, and then BC to open conference play. It could really be nice to start conference play on the right foot. But first, we're going to start with kind of a state of the program. Notre Dame's 3-2, coming off a horrible loss and a pretty brutal week in Maui. They're not out of it yet, but to me, the only hope is that the ACC isn't very good, which they don't look very good at all. And Notre Dame's schedule lines up pretty well. They play Duke once, UNC once, and I think FSU once as well. And then it's also November, which is kind of a little bit of my hope. Georgia Tech, I think, is a good example of a team that turned it around. They lost to Mercer last year and Georgia State. Shout out Georgia State. And they ended up winning the ACC tournament, and they were an 8 or 9 seed last year. So, Trevor, I'll kick it to you. What are your thoughts on the state of the program right now? I don't think they're going to be as good.
Well, if they keep playing the way they are, we can just switch over to being a Georgia State podcast if you want, man.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I think like you were saying, to begin the season, I think a lot of things were lined up really well for us as far as, like you said, strength of schedule within the ACC, who we had returning, little things like that, and just the strength of the ACC. I thought honestly, I thought it could have been a heck of a season. And to start off this way is a little disappointing. Like you said, it's November, which is nice, but I think at this point we have a lot more problems than we do solutions. And, I don't think you're supposed to be saying that, a few weeks into the season now, especially with the opportunity that we had in Maui. That really could have been a coming out party for us. I know we started, I think, the season 27th in Ken Palm or something like that. I don't know where we are now, and I don't really care to look, but I'd say it's a disappointing weekend for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think we also put Northeastern on the table with the Jogo and Doherty show. Yeah, a nice alternative team to cover. But I think we're going to have to stick with this Notre Dame team. And you're right. To make the tournament and to get to where they want to be, they can't have these same issues over and over again. And that seems to be the theme with this core is that it's not they make a mistake once and then they fix it. It's that they make the same mistakes over and over and over again, like they did in Texas A&M. I feel like I've watched that same game probably 10 times. It's like Syracuse, Georgia Tech last year, and then one, and then probably a few others that just slipped my mind because I chose not to remember them. This one was a very extreme example of the rotation, though. Like Texas A&M was going 11 deep, and it was the third day of the tournament, and Notre Dame was completely gassed. I think the small rotation is going to play a part if they keep doing this. But it's not going to be that extreme. It still needs to be fixed, though, and I think that'll probably be the first thing we go into. I think we can both agree Elijah Taylor should be getting 5 minutes at least a game. He said he's fine on Twitter, so any excuse that Brady tries to make about him not being good is not valid, at least in his eyes. But he should be playing for Illinois. It seems like Brady said he's going to. Thoughts on the rotation, Trevor? I think we talked about this a little bit beforehand.
Yeah, I appreciate Elijah coming out and giving you the details there, man. I appreciate it. But, obviously I think we all know it needs to change. I am shocked that, they can be so set on staying at 7, even when there are moments in a game where it's clearly not working. And kind of what we touched on earlier before this as well is, beginning the season, you kind of want to know, given you've had practices and all that kind of stuff, but what people can do during game time. These are all Division I players. I think we can go a couple more people deep and get some kind of production out of them, and you can't keep playing people like Prentice. I know it's Prentice, and we're thinking, big things and all that kind of stuff. But if he's not playing well, he's not playing well. And we need to be able to throw other people in there and let a rotation unfold within itself. So I don't know. It is disappointing. I'd love to see a lot more of Elijah. And then you mentioned Jr., which I think would be nice at times as well. Even Tony. I mean, I don't know. Especially early on, just to be so set on 7 is confusing.
Yeah, for sure. The thing with Hub, I want to talk. I think it's all mental with Hub. I wanted to touch on him a little bit. Like, I think he's gonna get going at some point offensively, but that doesn't fix the turnovers and the erraticness that we've seen from him. I think he's got a little bit. Well, he was better with that until Texas A&M when it was like the worst game he's ever had. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't understand how he just hasn't got going. I guess it's mental. Hopefully, he's done a little bit of soul searching these next few days to get ready for Illinois because he's got to hit shots against them. Andre Curbelo being in is probably going to help him if he is in, because I don't think Curbelo is that great of a defender, and he's also not very tall. So it'll help Hub to get shots up. But gosh, he's been horrible. I hate to say it, but they're going to need more from Prentice Hub to get where they want to go. I think they'll get more from him, but the turnovers and stuff is not going to fix itself. And if it hasn't in 4 years, what hope do we have that it's going to in a month or two?
No, you're right. I mean, by your senior season, obviously you're looking for player development, and we talked before the season started, that we think we've already kind of seen the ceiling of a lot of these guys. I don't even think we're getting that. Obviously, from Prentice, we're not getting that. Like, it's really confusing, and you're right by saying it has to be mental to an extent that we're seeing people regress. We still look like these dudes are kind of playing uneasy and uncomfortable as if they were still freshmen or sophomore who are getting rattled by ball pressure and, just things like that you don't think of when you say a senior point guard or a senior led team. I mean, these are problems from when they were freshmen that have just not learned, like you said, they haven't learned from it and moved on. It's still, I don't know, it's still quite evident that this team hasn't matured in that kind of way. You talked on Prentice. I want to talk on Nate just a little bit. I was really hoping to see his game open up a little bit more. Well, a lot more. I picked him as our best player this season, and especially if Prentice, was playing this way. Dane stepped up. He's had some pretty good games. People have stepped up here and there, but I feel like Nate and Paul as well. Paul, like you said, has gotten double teamed and things like that. But Nate, I was really hoping would, I was hoping we'd be able to throw the ball down low to him a little bit more, and he could do that. To me, he's blown some like crazy layups. He always ends up on the ground. Not like they're contested, don't get me wrong, but most bigs can finish that kind of stuff. So it's him to still be a pick and pop kind of guy. I don't know. A lot of these guys just you don't see that player development that you'd want. So I don't know. It's tough.
That's where my take came from at the beginning of the season, where I still thought he would kind of take a back seat because I just haven't seen him develop like other parts of his game offensively. Like he hasn't ever really shown me he can create. Like sometimes he'll get a pick and then a guy will jump and he'll take a dribble in and pull up, or if it's a smaller guy, he'll put his back to the basket and score, or sometimes he'll just take a straight driving lane and score. But yeah, I don't know. Like I think they're going to need more from him to get going, and I'm not certain that – I mean, he's going to have games where, like, teams are kind of sleeping, and I think Illinois could be one of those games. I'll get into that a little bit later. But, yeah, I mean, for Nate to be averaging 7.6 points per game is not ideal whatsoever. I think he's really improved some aspects of his game, like rebounding and stuff, and I think the shooting will come. So I'm not as concerned about him as, say, a Prentice or even a Trey Wirtz, who I think – a lot of people are overestimating how good Trey Wirtz has been this year just because Hub has not been good. Like, Trey Wirtz is averaging 5.6 points per game and shooting 30% from three. So, like, Trey Wirtz hasn't done anything to earn Prentice's role. Like people can say don't play Prentice, but then who are you going to play in his place? Trey Wirtz hasn't done anything either. So, Notre Dame isn't in a great spot with their guards right now. The bigs, I think, have been somewhat better than the guards, but this is a guard-led team. They have to be good, and it can't just be Dane Goodwin and Cormac to an extent, who has been pretty solid to me, especially defensively. But, yeah, they're going to need more from these guys to actually make a run. And I'm confident that some of them will come along. But, yeah, like if somebody's gonna be in a rut the whole season, then what gives? Like,
Yeah, no, you're spot on. I mean, it can't be your guy that I think did he win like third? Was he on the third team All ACC last
yeah,
year? Yeah, I mean like that. You can't be wondering what he's going to be all season long. I mean that's a huge problem. But I mean I think we kind of said a lot of it is honestly confidence. Like I think the reason why Nate isn't more. I mean, again, I don't think he's ever going to create or do anything like that either. But I don't know. To me, there's only one person who plays with an edge the whole game and kind of like looks like he wants the ball, wants to make plays, wants to play defense, and that's our freshman Blake Wesley. Like that's mind-boggling to me, dude. Like especially for a team that's never made the tournament, like to come out and to like just not have that crazy edge like that. Like you should be. I don't know, man. Like it's I'm lost in the fact that all these dudes aren't just like playing like giving it their all. I don't know. I just don't have that feeling from it at all. It just almost seems like they're like they have like a fallback option. Like we have another year or something like, but they don't. Like I don't know. It's confusing. It's confusing.
yeah. I think Cormac's been okay. Like I think he's kind of been hunting a shot a little bit more, but like he's dribbling the air out of the ball too. So like nobody is blameless in this. Paul Atkinson, I think, is a little banged up. I think he's been pretty good. ESPN doesn't really have his stats listed right. Like they have 5 games and then 1 game separately, so it's kind of hard to do the math. But I think he's averaging around 15 a game and then around like 6.3 or 6.4 rebounds. Need more from him on the glass, but I think he's been pretty good. Maybe he's been their best player. Dane is also in that running. And Blake Wesley is Notre Dame's 3rd leading scorer at 10.8 points per game. They're going to need – like, that's great that Blake's scoring double digits, but Notre Dame is not going to – they're not good with the guy scoring 10.8 as their 3rd leading scorer. So, yeah, I mean, I think Dane Goodwin's look good. I think Paul's look good. Blake has made some freshman mistakes, but he's looked solid. I mean, the seniors are making freshman mistakes too, so you can't really blame him.
No.
Yeah, I mean, the team is not in great shape right now, but on the bright side, they do have room to improve, and this week could be the start of that. So, you have anything else about the kind of the state of the program? I don't think I have too much else outside of defense, which I guess we could touch on a little bit. I think the defense has been better. Rebounding's been a little bit better, but they're really going to be tested on tomorrow, I guess, against Kofi and Coleman Hawkins and Omar Payne.
Right. Once we get into the ACC, I think we'll really find out rebounding-wise where we're at, just with all the athletes you'll face nightly and all that kind of stuff. But our defense has looked better. I think we get after it a lot more. I think we have, I do think people are trying to play defense, and there's a lot of effort on that side of the ball. There's still obviously moments where you think the opposite, but I'll take it because it does look like we're putting a lot more into that side. But a thing that stuck out to me is we don't go to it very often, but the 2-3 with Dane in the middle, I like it and don't like it. I like it because I think they're doing it for like if it's a ball screen and Dane's in the middle and he can pick up on that. Instead of I don't know. I think that's why they're doing it. I don't know for sure, but to me that's another thing that's a little odd that I'd like to hear somebody explain. But other than that, I got nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the 2-3 defense has got to stop the entire season. Like it is. I don't know. I didn't watch.
We play it so soft, man. Like we play it like that. I don't know. It's almost like we're like I don't know. Yeah, we play it so soft.
I couldn't watch the Cal State Northridge game. Maybe they did it in this game, but like I think they went to it in Texas A&M to try to save the legs a little bit. And there was 1 or 2 possessions. Texas A&M scored so easily that we're out of this.
Yeah.
For some reason last year he thought that could be their primary defense.
I know.
It doesn't look like it now. So.
No, and that's why that defense last year I think caused like one of the least amount of turnovers in the whole country.
Yeah.
Because we played that lackadaisical 2-3 defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, look at what we were talking about before the podcast, man. I'm so envious of watching other teams play and how they play defense. Just so there's so much effort. It's so intense. And first off, we haven't handled it. Texas A&M shows that, but I wish we had that. Like, I wish we just got after people, and we don't. So
Yeah, next year maybe they could get that with JJ and Blake, but man,
right.
I'm not super optimistic. But
And,
that 2-3 is just they hit it consistently. Maybe against Illinois with Curbelo in the game, just to throw something at him, try to get him to turn it over a little bit. But like, I remember this. I have a clip on my phone from the Louisville game last year, where Louisville was not moving without the ball at all, and like Carlik Jones was just dribbling it out, and nobody went out to guard him, and then he pulled up for like a D3 and hit it. And that's a microcosm of the season last year. And the defense, the 2-3 has almost been worse this year. So like, they can't be in that consistently.
No,
They're gonna have to man up and guard some guys. And Monday, you see that segue? Monday, they're gonna really have to man up and guard some guys against Illinois, who came into the year as a top 25 team. I think mostly a top 10 team based on who you asked. And I never saw a top 10. I saw a top 25 team, not a top 10 team. But they've kind of proven me right. 2 losses against Cincinnati and Marquette, teams that Wes Miller's done a nice job. Shaka Smart's done a pretty good job this year. But Illinois should not be losing those games. But,
no.
Marquette was without Kofi. But Cincinnati, they lost by 20 with Kofi. So I'm not super high on this team. Not super high on Andre Curbelo, who's dealing with a neck issue. I don't know if he's going to play. They haven't really said much. But if he plays, I'm guessing he won't be 100%. Like I said, he hasn't been that good this year anyway. Trent Frazier, their other guard, one of the best perimeter defenders in the country. Solid scorer. I'm not super high on him as a scorer, but he had a leg injury on Friday, didn't play. And then Jacob Grandison was out with the flu on Friday as well. So they were really not deep on Friday, but did win against like a garbage team. Kofi had 38. But where this team is going to kill them is the front court. Coleman Hawkins, I'm really high on him, has really good ball skills, can challenge defensively. He's like what I want Nate to be. If Nate had like that kind of guard skills as a 4, he'd be perfect. And I think he's the perfect complement to Kofi because he can shoot it. He can create his own shot. But you've heard Mike Bray talk about Kofi, go out of his way to talk about him. He's the X factor, one of the most unstoppable players in the nation. Notre Dame's going to have a brutal time with him, and I guess that's kind of where we'll start. How do they guard Kofi, Trevor?
I'm supposed to have that answer?
Yeah, I don't think any of us do.
No, I mean, honestly, it sounds funny, man, but like we may have to hope that some of those guys aren't playing, some of those guards aren't playing, and people for them have to step up and come out and play. I do have to mention, by the way, though, that your segues have been probably one of the highlights of Notre Dame basketball so far. So that you've really stepped your game up there. I will say that. But yeah, but as far as like you're talking about with Hawkins, like you mentioned all the other things he can do. I just love how fiery he is. Like that dude looks like he's having so much fun, and like I don't know, that is something I wish Nate had as well, or more people on our team in general. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of mismatches for them and to our detriment that we're gonna have to. Kofi's the biggest one, obviously, but I think there's a few others that cause problems as well that I'm not exactly sure how we'll stop. So I don't know. Hopefully, double teams. He has an off night. Hopefully, we're hitting. We can handle the environment. I mean, that I'm worried, man. I'm really worried. So
yeah, I mean, I think I've been thinking about this for a while. Like, how do you stop Illinois if you're Notre Dame? Like, I've come up with 2 kind of things. One, you have to find a way to make them one-dimensional. So that's like, if you can't guard Kofi, don't double him, and then just trade 2s for 3s. Maybe go Nate at the 5 and just pick and roll him to death, pick and pop him to death because he can't come out there.
Right.
But if they do want to double him, then like if Illinois' shooters are hitting shots and Kofi's going, they score 4 points on Friday. Like you got to make it one-dimensional somehow. Like force Curbelo to take tough shots, make Frazier take tough shots, and don't give their wings like Williams, Grandison, and Hutcherson good looks. But Kofi makes that a lot harder. Yeah, I mean, I think you can't just play them straight up. Like, you have to find this creative way to kind of combat them. Maybe that's Nate at the 5 to just give up on guarding Kofi and trade 2s for 3s.
Right.
Or maybe that's just like, maybe that's doubling Kofi and leaving their shooters wide open and hoping they don't hit shots. They're going to have to do something to figure this out. And I don't have a great answer for you. But I don't think Illinois is all that good. Like, to be honest, Kofi is a horrible matchup for Notre Dame. But I'm not a huge Curbelo guy. I'm not a huge Frazier guy. Plummer's a good shooter. Frazier's a great defender. But Curbelo shoots like 15% from 3. And he's like 6'1". So I've never been a huge fan. And he doesn't play great defense. I've never been a huge fan of Curbelo. But what's Hub done to be better than Curbelo this year? That's the only issue. And I guess we'll go into kind of what's your prediction for this game? I kind of have a range. I think the spread will probably be like a 5-point spread, Illinois, because they've been so bad. But I don't know. What are your thoughts?
If they have everybody, and it's at Illinois, right?
Yeah, it's at Illinois.
Yeah, at Illinois with all the fans back, Kofi's back. I really just don't have a very good taste with Notre Dame right now. So, and I hate not saying we're gonna win. I really do. Like, that hurts me internally. But like, I have a season by like possibly 10 to 15.
Wow.
I'm just not. Especially in their environment, like our first true road game in over like a year. I'm worried, man. I am.
Yeah, I'm worried as well. I'm not a huge buyer on Illinois. I just don't know how well Notre Dame matches up with them because they have so much length out there, and then they have Kofi. And yeah, I mean, I have Illinois with like a 5 to 7 point win. I could see Notre Dame finding a way to pull it out. Like, if they can just catch fire.
Yeah.
Are we betting on a Notre Dame team who is 3-2 to catch fire and hasn't come time this year in that environment against Illinois with all those like wings with great length, and then Trent Frazier if he plays, and Kofi? I'm not high on Illinois, but I don't see a way Notre Dame can like win this game without catching fire and like playing perfect. So
that's exactly what I was about to say. I think we'd have to play our best game yet. And I think we'd have to play – I don't know. Well, I think you're just banking on – like, there's just not many bright spots that I can go, oh, well, that'll work today or that'll work that game. Like, Paul's probably one of our best things on offense, and I don't know what Paul's going to be able to do with Kofi. I don't know. There's just too many things that lean to me in Illinois' favor. Like you said, they're a bad matchup for us, and we'd have to play – our best game yet. I don't think that's the game we put it all together. Maybe Boston College is kind of more of a game where we can get ourselves, on our own 2 feet again and move forward. But I'm not sure if Illinois will be it.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to need either Hub to just go off and play by far his best game, or they're going to need Nate to score like 30 just off pick and pops on Kofi. And I'm not banking on either of those things right now, even though I do like both players, and I think they're capable of that. I'm not banking on it though.
I think my hot take is I think Dane's going to – I guess it's not really that much of a hot take at this point, but I think Dane's going to be the leading scorer again.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that'd be the worst case. I could see that happening, but I think –
It has been the worst case scenario.
Yeah, it has been.
In the preview, I literally said he's like our 5th option in the starting 5. Like, if the fact that he can go and score like a good amount is great as a 5th option, but like, again, like when he puts up 16 or whatever and it's your leading scorer, it's like, oh boy, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not ideal.
I just want to put this out there now, so I have it out there if he does have a good game. But I think this could be a really solid Blake Wesley game. Maybe Blake Wesley's coming out party, because like whoever's going to be on him, I don't think can match his size and like intensity. Although they have some like long wings, and I really hope Trent Frazier isn't on him, or Cormac. Whoever Trent Frazier's on isn't going to have a good game. I hate to say that, but Blake.
I assume it's going to be Cormac. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I could see that being Cormac too, but yeah, hopefully Trent Frazier doesn't play. But Blake Wesley could have a lot of good matchups in this game if it's not Trent Frazier. and I think he has a lot more athleticism and stuff. Am I saying he's gonna have a great game? No, but I'm putting it out there that he's in a solid spot too. I think so. Moving on to BC. Oh, you go ahead.
The only thing I was gonna say is I think he's like mentally tough enough to go into there and be ready to play. Some of these other guys I think that's been a part that hurts us is that mental toughness. So I think he's the guy that could do.
I think Blake's built for environments like that. Like
Exactly.
he is so like fiery and plays so hard. I think that would be like you saw in high school, like road games where people would be chanting overrated and stuff, and he would just those were like some of his best games. So I think Illinois could be a nice coming out party for him to a national audience in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. But going into BC, Notre Dame's first game of ACC play, I think BC is better than what they were the last few years, but I don't think they're better than Notre Dame. I don't think their offense is that great. They're not like explosive, which is kind of what I look at for an offense. Like they can't go on huge runs. They have a lot of possessions that end in bad shots. I kind of look at them like I look at UCLA. Like they're gonna to win a game, they're gonna have to hit a bunch of tough shots. They're gonna probably have to be more talented than the other team. And I don't think they're more talented than Notre Dame. On defense, I think they play really hard, and I think they're probably better than Notre Dame defensively. They try to put some pressure on other teams' guards, which you guys know the deal with that. Trevor knows the deal with that. They press a little bit. They rotate well. They have some size down low. I think they're pretty solid defensively, but it wouldn't shock me if Notre Dame just kind of ran them out of the building offensively. Jaden Zachary, I think, does a nice job running their offense, but like I said, they're a bit clunky offensively. They got some other good ball handlers like Brevin Galloway, Kanye Jones, DeMar Langford, and Mekhi Ashton Langford. It might be their two best players this year. Zachary I really like as well. And then their front court, TJ Bickerstaff and Quentin Post, I think are guys who have high ceilings and who can stretch the floor but haven't put it together yet. I'm higher on their front court than most people, I'd say. But Trevor, any thoughts on BC? I don't know if you are as into them as Illinois, but it's a nice chance for Notre Dame and against a team that doesn't look that great.
Well, I don't know too much about them. I will say that, they are one of those teams that we have to get a win on just for the ACC resume and all that kind of stuff, or tournament resume. I mean, obviously, they're one of the teams that are on the lower end of the ACC, so those would have to be the ones you win. But I have us beating BC. I think by then, hopefully, maybe we even try a couple more people against Illinois and into the BC game that switches our rotation moving forward. But I don't know. I personally think BC will be the game that we kind of – if we're going to make a change as a team in our direction this season, I think it's against BC. So.
Yeah. I have a couple more notes. Matchup to watch, I think, is Cormac versus Mekhi Ashton Langford. But I'd like to see how Labs does against Bickerstaff because he's bigger and physical than him. And then my prediction is like Notre Dame by around 5-7. I think BC is better than people think, but I think Notre Dame is still better than them and will probably take care of them. Thoughts on BC before we head out?
I'd say I'm right there in that same winning range, 5-7, 5-10, something like that. So.
Yeah, I don't think BC's that great, but I think they're gonna be solid enough to give Notre Dame a run. Last year it didn't look like they would be, and then somehow beat Notre Dame. Somehow, as in Notre Dame didn't defend. But that's all I have. Any closing thoughts, Trevor, before we head off?
I mean, still early in the season. They can turn around at any point, So there's a positive there. If not, we still get your great transitions. So look forward to that regardless.
And you'll get a fired up post game show if they lose to BC as well. So
let's go.
Look forward to that one. But, I'll be back tomorrow with the post game. Thank you guys for watching, and I guess you can come back to this video all week to hear the state of the program and the BC preview, even if Notre Dame doesn't beat Illinois. So thank you guys for watching. Go Irish. Peace.